Hello, you wonderful beings. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. I started to work with gouache daily and challenging myself with different color combinations and light situations. As a part of this challenge, we are actually painting a night scene today. That is where values come in really handy, because I feel like with understanding them, you're more likely to succeed in your art experiment. For instance, imagine painting the landscape. You have an awesome daylight reference, but you just want to try and make it a night scene instead. So, what will be darker, the mountains or the sky? And what about the forest below? Will it be the same color as the sky or the mountains? Because it literally happened to me 4 years ago, and now that embarrassment of a painting hanging on my boyfriend's wall, reminding me how much I learned since then. To say I have used reference then, even a couple of them, but still some things were needed to be figured out, and I had no idea what I'm doing. And if I to go back there to myself, I would tell me about the power of values. Okay, briefly, what is value? Value is how light or dark the color is. The easy way to see which range of values you have used in your painting or are in the reference picture is to switch them into black and white mode. Usually on photos there are like hundreds of values, variety of grays and black, but take it easy. If you don't aim at hyperrealism, you don't need all of them. It's enough to simplify them into 4-5 main values for starters. So, how to actually approach values? How to study them? First, learn to squint your eyes. This tip will help you to observe the values, to simplify a complex object like a tree or a forest into groups of similar values. So they will be less intimidating to paint and good for you if you wear glasses for sight, because that means you can just take them off and immediately see what I mean. And when you're looking at something, think not, that's gray, that is yellow, but more of, this road is lighter than the car and the sky is darker than the trees. Sometimes it can be really hard. There are values and colors that I still cannot figure out. But for this, look at how other artists approach them. Observe what decisions do they make in their art. Number 2. Next step is to work from big to small. What is the easiest way to get into this habit? Right. Makes sense to use comparatively large brushes and small surface, like thumbnails. Because then you just won't be able to draw every single little bush, instead painting what you see when you squint your eyes. My first drawings were on A3 size. Now I hardly even do A4, because having a large canvas, it's hard to cover large shapes, and it's so easy to fall into details. You can see each stroke like through the magnifying glass. Old masters always took their time to step away from the artwork and look at it from a larger, greater distance. That way they were able to see if the work has balance in color and values. Number 3. A way to improve both volume and values in your art is to see shapes over the lines. It doesn't mean to pause on your line art skills. Even more so, I believe that it will take your lining a step forward once you will learn how to see the base of the objects that you draw. It is a very natural thing for us that we are used to outline things. Like when we are trying to draw the face, or in my case, the house, we usually start by tracing the surface. But just one line shorter or the angle wider and it suddenly looks wrong. So before even sketching the object, let's say the human head. Imagine shape that is made of. Imagine balloon or a shoebox. Imagine holding them and rotating. They aren't lines. They aren't flat. Start there. Observe what you see. Is it a balloon in a tube? Is it a pyramid and 100 small boxes? Start from these basic forms, and only after getting these initial shapes on paper, go into details with your lines. This is important because if your sketch is weak and flat, you are more likely to get a weak and flat painting. For instance, what we have here. I see shoebox with 2 playing cards connected on the top, which is the house. Also on screen I see hill, which is a half-oven boiled egg, and trees, which are small pyramids on different length spikes. Everything can be simplified to cubes, spheres, cylinders, and pyramids. So when you learned to see the shapes, looking at the picture with mountains and forests and sky, you see not a bunch of trees, but a large shape, which is forest. And looking at the mountains, squinting your eyes, there are 2 shapes. The mountains, squinting your eyes, there are 2 shapes. The mountains that are closer, which are similar in values, form 1 large shapes, and those in the background, which are darker, is another group, another shape. And number 4. For if the values in reference or in real life aren't strong or interesting enough. Remember that unlike photographers, you have your own Photoshop on the go. You are the Photoshop. You don't need to go searching for another scenery to paint, because you can change what you see by making the values stronger or weaker. And just don't include that brush in the frame if it's messing it up. For example, I'm working here from Pinterest reference, but I change it to look more appealing to me. In case of references, it's also a good practice to modify them, to learn how to stop copying and start referencing. And so it won't be that obvious where you reference from if you're planning on using it for commercial purposes. I feel like the further I can go from references without losing the main benefits, the better artist I become. So yep, those are the value basics as I know them. If you want to get good at art, go and look for more knowledge from other artists and find out how they see and work with values. So you'll have diversity in opinions and a higher chance to truly understand the topic from different perspectives. Okay, I hope the next time you're going outside you look around, deciding what looks darker, which shape is the main one, and how would you break down the view into simple value spots. Have fun! See you next time, and carry on.